Chairman, Australian Council for Private Education and Training, Mrs. Kay Ganley, and members of the ACPET Board. Chairman, Education for Employment Foundation, Mr. Ron Bruder. Founding Director, Asia Society of Australasia Centre, Mr. Richard Woolcott, AC. CEO of Skills Queensland, Mr. Rod Cam. CEO of ACPET, Ms. Claire Field. Distinguished conference speakers and delegates, representatives of ACPET member institutions and representatives of federal and state government departments and agencies. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. As has become customary at major public ceremonies and events in our state, in the spirit of national reconciliation, I acknowledge Australia's Indigenous peoples, custodians of the world's oldest living culture, and in particular the Yagara and Turrbal peoples who lived in this Brisbane region before European settlement. And I thank Turrbal songwoman and lawwoman Maruchi Baramba for her always stirring welcome to country. To her traditional blessing and welcome, I add my own very warm welcome and greetings to all delegates and conference participants. And I want to extend a special greeting to the international education and training experts from overseas who have joined the conference. Many, I'm aware, having attended the Gateway Forum in Darwin earlier this week and the second Asia Pacific International Education Forum held here in Brisbane, both, of course, facilitated by ACPET. Your presence is very pleasing, I am sure, for ACPET and its members, keen to strengthen practical linkages and personal and professional relationships across the region for a host of very obvious reasons. Having representatives from so many countries, India, China, Vietnam, Myanmar, Thailand, the Philippines, Singapore, Laos, Fiji, and of course our closer neighbour New Zealand and others, will give added value to your discussions over the next couple of days, bringing the connection between national and international policies, strategies and circumstances into much sharper focus and creating a very useful and particularly timely opportunity to exchange views and, I hope, refine approaches. But I have to say to you that it is even more pleasing for Queensland and for Queenslanders at this time to have the opportunity created by this ACPET conference to welcome overseas visitors and colleagues from other Australian states and territories to our state and to its capital, Brisbane. Not only because it's been 8 years, I understand, since Brisbane last hosted an ACPET conference in 2003 at this very venue, but because barely 7 months ago, television broadcasts and YouTube clips worldwide would have had the world believe that most of Queensland had vanished under a mud tide, and that after the floods, whatever infrastructure remained had then been obliterated by Cyclone Yassi. But as the visitors among you will have seen as you flew up or drove into Brisbane for yesterday's forum or for today's conference, the city is once again sparkling. The river is meandering benignly beneath its busy bridges. The city's trees and gardens and parks are flourishing, and a sense of buoyancy, or that irrepressible Queensland spirit, is beginning to return to everyday life. Although not everything is fully restored across the state, the reconstruction challenge posed by our summer of disasters was enormous. Nevertheless, great strides have been made, and the world needs to know that Queensland is back in business. As Governor, I have been doing my best, both to support the recovery and to get this message out. One early initiative to do just that involved hosting a gathering, a big luncheon at Government House in April at the request of the Foreign Minister, who just happens to be a Queenslander, for scores of foreign ambassadors and their spouses, so that I could tell them, we could tell that significant audience of overseas representatives that Queensland was not only back in business, but emphatically open for business, and to urge them to spread the word through their networks back to their own capitals and countries. And in that presentation, I placed particular emphasis on the fact that our tertiary institutions, our education and training institutions, public and private, were operating as usual and eager to welcome more business. And I emphasised that the quality of what was on offer had not in any way been affected by